I think we're live.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Inside Scoop. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, not that one. Let's just change this. We are
I
Friday.
like when it's up there by accident because I always feel like I'm going to get some inside scoop that I hadn't been anticipating.
Well, yeah, you are. You're totally with the Inside Scoop. But I just want to start with we're going to talk about wonder because it's such an interesting conversation. I think not that we're going to be interesting, but that the conversation is interesting. But I also want to say that Stephanie said something about us. We were discussing how we look, and she said, "Well, we're not vain." And I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but 2 years of seeing myself on camera,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's vanity, but I feel like shit a lot of the times. like
Totally.
what? Right? Like I don't stop myself from going on. And clearly we don't based on Fridays. But it is kind of I'm not a big look in the mirror person.
No.
And for 2 years now, I'm basically looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
I do. Well, you know how I've told you, like I'll literally take like a piece of paper and like cover my face,
Well, you could. Oh, I don't know how you would do it here, but you can.
Exactly. I can do it on other platforms.
Yeah. My problem with that is I need to be mindful of not like having a facial reaction to things.
Yeah.
So I have to be. It's self-protective and terrible to see myself. Okay, so we are going to talk about wonder. And I think wonder kind of aligns for some people with spiritual, or, if you have a religion like maybe holiness, it's kind of this world of gratitude, I think, is also linked into it. And I just was thinking about, if we're going to talk about this topic, like, how does it look in my family? And in my family, which I feel certain this is true for a lot of people, but the moments that I can recall where there was kind of like awe and our eyes maybe welled up with tears was nature related. So like driving to Yosemite and pulling over for the first time, it felt like being bowled over with like an emotion that I'm not so familiar with. It was so breathtaking. And I would say that like that's where it happens a lot in my family. Like we were on the beach and watching a sunset, and one of my kids, like, I think she would live on the beach if she could. Like that is a place that she just feels like at one. I don't know. And I get that feeling in the morning walking when the sun is coming up, like that same feeling. And I hope I didn't steal your thunder. I'm sorry.
You know what? You didn't, because
Wow.
you didn't, because I came at it from such a different place. So
okay.
yeah.
Good. Let's hear it.
So I was thinking more of the wonder in terms of curiosity.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I wrote down curiosity/wonder because I think, well, I'm married to a man who is extremely curious, almost to a fault. So if there can be such a thing, like there's really no straight answers. There's lots of like, well, wait, why did they do it that way? What could that? So there's a lot of curiosity, like in our in our what's like in our orbit.
Curiosity is a very positive word. You don't seem like you're using it that way.
No. But there's often a joke. I'm laughing because there's often a joke in our house where people are like, I just wanted like a quick answer. So that's why I'm kind of laughing, because I'm kind of hearing my kids in my head as I'm saying it. So I think that idea of like more like, I wonder what would happen if. Oh, like, how did that happen? Or what if we could? Wonder how that would look. Like what it, like, kind of like, have you ever heard that it's very, it's so cliche, but what would happen if if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? If you knew, right? Like, so coming at it from that sense. So it's interesting because I think back, and I may have said this on a Facebook Live or somewhere in the last 14 years.
No one remembers us anyway.
Yeah,
it's fine. Just say it again.
Most of all me. I could have said it this morning. So we were at the Smithsonian in DC, the Flight Museum, whatever it's called, Museum of Flight. And so there's the whole Wright brothers exhibit. And one of the quotes is from one of Orville, or whatever the brother's name is. What's the brother's name?
Wilbur.
Yeah, it didn't sound right. He said,
no one names their kids Wilbur or Orville anymore.
Not so much. And he said, I felt like I was lucky to be born to parents who valued that I was born to parents who lived in Ohio and valued
Yep.
curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ohio, and valued curiosity. And so I hope that we bestowed that on the kids, that this sense of curiosity, which I think for us is, for me as a mom, got easier and easier as they got older, because I felt like I had better bandwidth for that conversation as they turned into who they were,
Mhm.
or realized that they were who they were and didn't feel like I had to be bestowing lessons on them.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try and link the two because I think that
Okay.
somehow they're related.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard to think about it as I'm talking. But I think
Yeah.
the idea of curiosity is to give us those moments of awe. Like when you're curious, when you go at it as like, kind of what you see is what you get, you might be not looking at the periphery or having kind of someone else's perspective on it to give you those moments where you're opened, you're wider, you're broader than you were before.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with those two being linked together, even though we could talk about both of them separately, but we're going to link them together. The other thing I was thinking about when it comes to like nature and being kind of like just filled with these moments, it's like those are moments that they stand out. But I kind of was thinking, well, where in the mundane do we see those moments? Like where you take a pause in your life and I don't know, you notice someone doing something extraordinary that's like maybe not noteworthy for the front page of the news. And like that gives you that reaction of like a moment, like, so I think about it all the time, how people like so many people do so many small, little, wonderful things for other people that don't get announced anywhere.
Mhm.
And, but it makes the world just kinder and more connected. And I have this one friend who she just cooked. She has, I think, 7 kids. I mean, they're older now, but she would just bring over dinner to her next door neighbor every single night because the woman lived alone. She was widowed, and she was just, that was part of her routine. And she casually mentioned it one day, and I was like, I'm so filled with that. Like that, it just kind of like brings out the humanity and the kindness in the world. And so those kind of things make me feel like if we were to focus more on that,
Mhm.
that we would see more of that
Yeah.
instead of the other.
This is so weird. I was going to tell you the story at lunch today, but it's such a great segue.
But instead, she'll announce it to whoever's watching.
Exactly. So I had a call set up with one of our clients yesterday, and she gets on, camera's not on. She started chatting, and she said, "Oh, you may hear some like squawks in the background. Um, I just took in a foster. I have a baby, a 1-year-old."
Wow.
And I was like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Like, and then I was like, "Okay, can I ask you a couple questions?" I'm like, "Oh my God, when did you get approved?"
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just kept saying to her, I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, I'm in awe. I am in awe. And so, I asked her a bunch of questions, and um, it was just amazing. And I just said, like, I told her about my experience with, the agency I'm involved in. And I just said, "Oh my God, like, thank you. Like, thank you. Like, you've obviously you've changed your own life. You've changed this child's life. It's so brave. It's so brave and it's so kind." That's what I said to her.
It is the biggest because
It's unbelievable.
I mean, I think adoption is really challenging, but
Mhm.
fostering, you have to open up your heart knowing that it's not going to be forever. Like
Right. It
that's a
could
big,
be. Could
right.
be.
But it
Could
really
be.
might not be.
Right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We just kept, we were trying to stay on track, but I kept linking back. I was like, "Oh my God."
Okay. So this is the other thing I had thought about, which was,
Mhm.
there's so much conversation about being in the moment.
Mm.
And some of like some of the things in life that I strive for is being lost, right? Like kind of getting lost in that beautiful hike or
Mhm.
and maybe not even really noticing what's around me because I'm kind of in some maybe a meditative state or something. I don't know what it is, but where I'm literally just in the hike. And
Yeah.
that's so cathartic, and it's so I don't know, like I'm not often in a place where I feel like my head isn't racing. So I
Yeah.
love those moments. But I wonder if you like I'm almost missing out on something else. Like is it either or? Like can you be like, kind of lost in your solace almost, like just kind of,
Yeah.
and the minute I see like a beautiful bird or something, I'm out of that, lost feeling. And
Yeah.
it's just, and I don't know, because we talk so much about the importance of being present, and maybe that's the height of it, or
I
maybe
was
it's
gonna say, isn't that right?
I
That's
don't
what I was
know.
gonna
I
say.
don't know.
I feel like it is.
Do you get that when you're hiking
Mhm.
where
Oh my God.
yeah,
Oh my God. Yeah. So I was just thinking, like last week, like all of a sudden we were at a place, and they had like seeds and stuff. And I guess people take their kids there, and the kids all had their hand, like the chickadees will fly right into your hand. And I was watching these little kids with like their hand all like, these teeny little hands with their little seeds there, and just watching them waiting, And I was like, oh my God, like those kids. I mean, you talk about being in the moment. You're just, I mean, those kids they don't have in their head like, oh my God, the grocery store. Oh my God, am I picking that kid up? Oh my,
yeah,
right. Like they
they're
are
purely there.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So watching them, it kind of reminds me of the conversation where I have, I'm going to a play, maybe something I've seen before that I love, and I'm experiencing it with somebody that I love and watching them take it in. Like I've had it with kids so many times. I've had it with colleagues where like maybe a country they haven't been to before and watching them take it in for the first time. And I love that. There is something that like builds in me that I'm like, oh my God, like I always tease one of my friends, her mom had taken her to see something. I'm like, did your mom watch any? I mean, this is a grown woman. I'm like, did your mom watch any of it, or did she just watch you? She's like, yeah, she totally just watched me watching it. I'm like, yeah, but I can relate to that as a mom. Like, how many times do you watch your kid taking something in? I was picturing you said something about the beach, and I was picturing one of my kids who I can watch him just sit on the beach watching the water. Like sometimes he has his earbuds in, sometimes he doesn't. He might have a book on his lap. I'm just watching him like, what is going on in his head?
So I'm going to say that in my house, that would end any bond. Like if I were to be noticeably watching them taking in something, it would be like
Depends on the kid. Yeah.
well, 5 of mine would be.
Okay.
I just want to share what Dee had to say to your comment, Steph, because it's so true. Taking in a foster care child is so brave and it's so kind. It's so true, Dee. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to share? Put in the chat if you've got any experiences that stand out at those moments where you're filled with wonder. And it could be either wonder, either my wonder or Stephanie's wonder.
So it's another funny thing. I just thought I always think of me watching the kids, but I have noticed they'll watch me. Like I think you've heard this, where we've been driving like down to Virginia. I think we were taking a kid back to school, and it's a beautiful drive down like towards like the Shenandoah Mountains and stuff. And I'll be driving, and all of a sudden I'll feel like somebody really close to me sticking his head like forward, and he'll go, trees. Because he'll notice me like taking it in.
Yeah, that's so great. Oh my goodness. This is unbelievable, Brianna.
Okay, that's a mic drop.
Wow. Brianna was a surrogate and your whole family was amazed. Wow. That was a whole entire year of amazement and gratitude. Yes. I think, wow.
That's 2 more. We'll add myself and Sue to that one. That's amazing.
Yeah. A year of amazement and gratitude. So interesting, Brianna. So fascinating and such a gift to some other parents. Really, really amazing. And Stephanie is so moved that she disappeared. And she came back. That's really beautiful. I mean, there's just nothing else to say. What a gift. Especially as the mom of a gay kid. I have a son and a son-in-law. And, the process is not simple. Like, yes, gay people have kids, but the process they go through is not simple. And they need people like Brianna to make their dreams come true. So thank you.
I feel like we have to end it there. Wow.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for being with us this week. We will see you next Friday, and find some wonder. I think really someone asked me where you found, that's what prompted this. Okay. Someone asked where do you find wonder? And it really is a question that puts you in a mindset of finding wonder. So I hope everyone spends at least the day, if not the week, just looking for it, because it's not hard
we
to
have
find.
to add Brianna. Like, can we add it with what you just put up?
Oh, wow. Okay, Brianna. It's been a long journey. I'm doing it again. People don't understand how much goes into it. Wow. Okay, hats off to
I
Brianna.
love that. I love
Thank
that.
you.
That is
Thanks for
so
ending this
smiling.
so beautifully. Have a great weekend, everybody.